Hello everyone, today we are watching the movie Inside Man. We see a man named Dalton Russell in what he claims a prison cell, and he says that he has executed the perfect bank robbery. Then we see the bank, and it is very busy. Someone who looks like a painter gets in, and he uses a special tool to put all the cameras offline. Other painters get in, and they lock the door behind them. A security guard says to open the door, but the first painter points a gun at him. Everybody needs to get down on the ground, and they throw smoke grenades on the ground. The main robber, who turns out to be Dalton, explains that he and his friends are making an enormous withdrawal out of this bank, and the people who try to be a hero will get killed. A police officer is walking in the street when he sees the smoke coming out of the bank. He is trying to get in when Dalton opens the door and says that when more cops get near the door, he will kill some of the hostages. When Dalton is back inside, the policeman calls for backup. In the police department, two detectives named Keith Frazier and Bill Mitchell are talking when they hear the news. They get to the bank, and there are more policemen waiting for them. Then we see the owner of the bank, named Arthur Case. He gets informed that the bank is being robbed, and he is not happy. Back inside the bank, all the hostages are being grouped together. Dalton says that the hostages need to give their cell phone and keys to him. One of the hostages says that he doesn't have a phone, but Dalton finds out he does and beats him up. The leader wants the men and women to line up in two different lines, and they need to strip down to their underwear and put overalls and face masks on. Now they have the same outfit as the robbers, so the police will not know who the robbers and hostages are. An old man has heart problems, and the robbers let him out of the bank. Because the man has the overall and face mask on, the police think he is one of the robbers and arrest him. Arthur gets on the phone with a woman named Madeleine, and he says that he wants to meet with her. He called her because he has a safe deposit box in the bank, and he is scared to lose what's inside it. Madeleine is a very powerful woman that doesn't care if your request is shady. If you pay enough, she will do it. Inside the bank, one robber starts digging into the ground. After this, Dalton gets called by the police, but he doesn't pick up. Another hostage is set free, and he has a mailbox with him. In the mailbox, there is a text that says that the robbers want a jet, or they will kill hostages. Keith says to his men that the robbers won't get anything until he talks with them on the phone, so they can negotiate. Then Arthur gets in the truck. Because it's his bank, he wants to know what is going on. The detectives don't let him and escort him out. Madeleine has friends in high places and gets to the mayor. She knows that the mayor did something bad in his past and blackmails him, so she can get closer to the bank to get the safe deposit box out of it. The robbers let a hostage out of the bank, and he has a note with him that says that the cops need to bring food for them. The cops use this as an opportunity to plant mini microphones inside the food boxes, so they can hear what is going on inside. The scene switches back to the bank, and we see that one hostage is pissed and is complaining. The robbers get in and drag him into another room, and he gets beaten up. The food gets there, and they bring it inside. The cops are listening to the robbers through the microphones and hear a foreign language they don't know about. They put the language on the speakers and ask the crowd if someone knows what language this is. One man in the crowd says that the language they are speaking is Albanian. He recognizes it because his ex-wife is from Albania. The cops call a language expert so he can translate what they are saying, but he isn't available. They want the man to call his ex-wife so she can translate it. She gets into the truck and is laughing because the voice is from a speech from the former president of Albania. Somehow the robbers knew that the cops were going to use microphones to spy on them, so they set up a random tape to keep the cops busy for a while. Back in the bank, the robbers are still digging a hole, but we don't know for what it is yet. Then we see the vault of the bank. There is a little boy in there, and Dalton gives him some food. The kid says he respects the robber and thinks that it's cool what they are doing. But Dalton says that it is bad what he is doing and says that the kid needs to have a legal job when he grows up. After this, Dalton gets to the safety deposit boxes and opens number 392. There are documents in the box and bags filled with diamonds. Madeleine gets to the bank and wants to talk with Keith. The mayor is there too and says that Madeleine will help him stop the bank robbery. But actually the only thing she wants is the deposit box, so she can help Arthur. Keith doesn't need the help, but the mayor says that Keith will lose his job when he doesn't comply. After this, Keith is on the phone with Dalton. Dalton threatens to kill the hostages if he doesn't get the jet, and Keith gets nervous. The robbers are still digging in the ground, and they see pipes. About an hour later, Keith and Madeleine are together, and he lets her talk with Dalton on the phone. She says that she has an offer for him, and Dalton is curious and lets her in the bank. She can arrange for him that he will get $2 million, and he only has to serve 4 years in prison. The only thing she wants from him is that he doesn't open safe deposit box 392. He says that he opened the box and knows what's inside. He tells her that there were diamonds and documents in it. In the documents, there is a story how Arthur used World War II to his advantage to become very rich while working for the Germans. With the money he got from that, he founded this bank. So when the news finds out about Arthur's past, he will be in a lot of trouble. She gets back to the detective and says that the negotiation with the robber didn't go as planned. She also says that Dalton behaves like a normal person, and he wouldn't ever kill someone. It is Keith's turn to talk with Dalton, so he gets on the phone with him. Keith won't give him the jet before he can come in the bank and check if all the hostages are still alive. He gets in, and the robbers make sure he doesn't have any weapons on him. They show him the hostages, and that nobody is killed. Keith comforts some of them and says that he will get them out of here. When they are leaving, Keith fights with Dalton, and he tries to find out how he looks under his face mask. But another robber saves him from giving his identity away. After this, Dalton asks how long till they are done with the hole, and the other robber says that it will be done in 2 or maybe 3 hours. Keith is talking with the other detectives and is explaining what happened when he was in the bank. Then he gets a call from Dalton. Dalton wants the truck's camera to move to a specific location, so the cops can see something of what is going to happen in the bank. When the camera is moved to the good location, Dalton kills a hostage. Keith gets to the entrance of the bank and asks why he did that. The robber says that Keith crossed the line when he attacked him, so this murder is his fault. Keith's supervisor gets here and is mad at him that he let a hostage die, so someone else will be put in charge. The other cops are making a plan to get into the bank, but it is very hard because the robbers and the hostages are wearing the same clothing. They will use rubber bullets, so the cops won't kill anyone, but the bullets can still hurt someone very badly. Keith is inspecting the mailbox and finds a microphone attached to it. This means that the robbers have been listening to them all this time, so they know that the cops are planning to infiltrate the bank. The cops are still planning to go in, and the robbers are preparing for this. They gather all the hostages and bring them out of the bank. The cops don't know who a robber is and who a hostage is, so they arrest everyone. They get in the bank to see if there are more robbers hiding inside, but they can't find anyone. This means that there are robbers in the crowd who are pretending to be a hostage. It looks like that the robbers haven't taken anything from the bank, and the cops find out that the guns that the robbers used are fake. They'd also never killed a hostage, but they used fake blood to make it seem like they did. After interrogating all the suspects, the cops found nobody that could have been a robber, and the fingerprint research didn't lead to anything too. Keith's boss wants him to stop with the case because it is impossible to catch them with the information they have. He still wants to try and is reviewing all papers from what the bank contained to maybe find out what was stolen, because no one robs a bank for free. He sees that safe deposit box 392 is nowhere to be seen on the paper and gets suspicious. He talks with Madeleine, and he wants to know what Arthur is hiding, and she says that it has something to do with doing business with the Germans, but she doesn't know the whole story yet. After this, Madeleine and Arthur get back together, and she says that the robbers have the box, and they will keep it. Arthur feels bad for what he did in the past, and thinks he deserves that the diamonds are gone. He also tells her that there was a ring in the deposit box that was from a wealthy Jewish family that he got when he ratted them out to the Germans. Then we see the first scene again, but now we see that it wasn't a cell that Dalton was staying in, but just a very tiny room. The henchman who helped with the robbery built a fake wall in the bank where he is currently staying behind, and the hole they were digging was for him to poop in. He gets out of the fake wall and puts everything back in place. Keith gets to the bank to check for deposit box 392. When he's inside, he bumps into someone. He opens the box, and there is a ring inside and a note. The note says to follow the ring, and Keith and Bill get to Arthur. They confront him about the safe deposit box, but Arthur doesn't want to talk with them anymore. Keith gets to Madeleine and the mayor, and he says that she needs to report Arthur to the War Crime Issues office so that he goes to jail. Melanie knows all the details about his crimes and says that she will do that. When Keith is back home, he finds a diamond in his pocket. It turns out that on his way into the bank, Dalton was the person that bumped into him, and he put the diamond in his pocket. Keith thinks about how good the robbery really was, and the movie ends. Thank you for watching the movie Inside Man with us. Leave a comment of what movie you want us to recap next, and don't forget to subscribe if you liked it.